any violence, you are barred from coming in. That's called standards. If we would just get the standards right, and we adults will hold up the standards and not try to fight them, I believe with all of my heart, soul, and mind that we'll have a better society. Good evening, this is Dr. Curry, and welcome to The Source. Many of you are used to seeing both Shanae and Kobe with me every week. This week, both of them were called away. Kobe was called to Washington. You know, he does a lot of work with those advocacy work. And then Shanae was called away by our government in order to serve in the military. So today I'm here by myself, and what we want to do is do a show where we just share with you some of the finest moments we've had or some of the topics that we've reviewed throughout the year, and hope that you will be able to get re-caught up on some of the things that we've discussed and find that the relevancy of this show is very much important. But before I let you go today, I want to just spend some time with a few things that are happening right here and around our city or in the county. In this case, one of it is the issue that is going on with the 8 students who were arrested in Newark High on last Tuesday. That troubled me as an educator, as one who believes in the educational system, especially in public education. I am always concerned when we find that we're not getting what we need to get out of our public school system. Now, what happened there in Newark High School, it was 8 students who were arrested, but there were a plethora of students who were involved in a fight. The fight was so bad that even some of the officers, when they tried to break up the fight, got wounded, got hurt, but nobody was to a place where anyone lost their lives. That's not my concern. My concern is that we're seeing, and I looked at the data that the state of Delaware is putting out, over 43% increase in 1 year for school violence as it relates to this type, where there's multiple people involved. One fight break out, then 6, 7 other fights break out. We have to do something. I remember when I was being raised, they used to come on TV and ask parents, do you know where your children are? And then there was also an accountability where not only is it on the school to make sure that they are held accountable for educating our children, but it was also important for the parents to play a role, making sure that the children got up, got to school, had breakfast and things of that nature. I don't know what is going on in our society today. There's many research studies. They're talking about the iPads, the iPhones, the various games that they play is causing a lot of aggression. We have to get to the bottom of it. We cannot expect that the school district and the schools take all the ownership. There are people who just send their children to school so that they won't have to deal with them for those amount of hours, and that is just sad. School is supposed to be a place for learning. School is supposed to be a place where we receive education, where we're able to matriculate and do better than the generation that came before us. It is a sad day right now. Delaware ranked very low as it relates to public education in our country, and we have to figure out how to fix it. If you want to come out of poverty, if you want your family to come out of poverty, the path out of poverty is education. At the 3rd grade level, people are able, those who are officials, they're able to say which children will be in prison or which children will leave and do well and be productive citizens in the society upon which they live. But I am asking parents, Let's figure out what's going on with our young people. Let's talk to them. Let's have a conversation with them. I don't have Kobe or Shanae here to help feed off of today, but I want to be very honest with you. I'm concerned. I'm not going to say that there are schools that are failing our children, because they are schools. There are schools that are failing our children. But what about parents who are failing our children? This is not popular. This is not something people want to hear, but we must address the real issue. Children are coming out of homes and we are hearing them saying things. We're hearing the plots that they have, and we're not holding ourselves accountable. I say to our congregation all the time, we must make sure we are the safeguards of our children, which means if you find some weird behaviors, address it. Don't be afraid to address it. We don't have to be friends with our children. I'm not a friend to my child. I am her father. And it becomes important that parents speak up, and we cannot use as an excuse, well, I'm a single parent and you don't know all the things I have to do. My mother was a single parent with 5 children, and all 5 of us, with my mother, we lived in the projects in North Philadelphia, Raymond Rosen high-rise projects. We lived there. My mother made sure she instilled a strong sense of values in us, and each one of us, all 5 of us, are college graduates, and we are doing well. 2 of my brothers are now deceased, but my sister and myself and my brother are all doing exceptionally well, because it's not about how much money you have. It's about the value that you place in your children that they have. We're bigger than we currently are. So it becomes important that we start addressing this. Yes, I want to hold the educators accountable for educating our children. I'm going to hold them accountable, but I also want to make sure a part of the equation is us holding parents accountable. We cannot have guns in our home. We cannot have weapons in our home, and then when they leave out with them, we don't report it. We don't try to stop them. And then when something happens, everyone wants to be remorseful. And then blame other people. It starts in the home. We have to start putting in some boundaries so that our young people will realize that the way out is not fighting. The way out is not about cussing each other out. I had a young man here. We have several of our community children who come and use our gym during our open gym time. And he was very angry because they were cheating, as he called it, while they were playing basketball. So he come busting out of the gym door, cussing, using vituperative profanity at a very high level. And I stopped him. And I said, "Sir, what is your issue?" And he proceeded to continue to use vituperative language, didn't know exactly who I was. But after I calmed him down and didn't just dismiss him, he explained to me what happened. And then I explained to him why it's important to have strong language development. You can certainly address your issue without using all that profanity, number one, but also without resulting in what I would call violence. I believe the one reason why there was no violence that day is because they understand our strict policy. Any violence, you are barred from coming in. That's called standards. If we would just get the standards right, and we adults will hold up the standards and not try to fight them, I believe with all of my heart, soul, and mind that we'll have a better society. I'm very grieved. When I looked at the information on it, 2 officers were injured. No students were really reported as being injured, although they were the ones that were fighting. They're looking to arrest more children. They were off school on Wednesday, so we don't have any information on who else got arrested, but we do know that 8 of them were arrested. But it is an issue that happened there at Newark High School. It happens in all of our schools. But we have to start the process at home. Maybe if we put a law in where we hold parents accountable for the behavior of their children, maybe it will turn some of this behavior. But because there's no accountability, we can just blame the teachers. And the reason why a lot of teachers will not teach in certain schools and certain school districts who are good is because they do not want to deal with their lives being threatened and their lives being in jeopardy. We must ask the real question, and here it is. What are we doing as parents to ensure that our children are going to school to learn and not to cause any violence? That's the first topic for today. And again, I don't have any of my cohorts with me to assist me. But the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit concerning to me. I've been paying close attention, my interacting with politicians and my interacting with people, that someone needs to also share with the politicians that they are public servants. Someone needs to be able to say, hey, if she said this, if he said that, and it's not true, brush it off. Brush it off and keep fighting for the people. I've paid close attention, and I'm going to start calling people out. When certain politicians get angry with you, they become infused with, oh, I'm going to get them back. Politics is simply means this. Poly, which is Greek for many. Ticks are blood suckers. Politics are many blood suckers. Recognize that. If you're going to be in the public's eye, people are going to ridicule you, and you may not be guilty of what they say. But you're there as the sacrificial lamb to help the voiceless. You cannot cut off the voiceless because you upset with a certain person or a certain person didn't do things the way you thought it ought to be. This is not I'm gonna take it personal way. We must make sure. I'm a pastor of a fairly nice sized congregation. If I took personal the stuff that happens even in the church, I wouldn't serve as pastor anymore because I would have been drained and burnt out a long time ago. But you have to learn how to brush stuff off. You have to learn how to move on, and you have to learn how to not spend your time trying to get somebody back. I think one of the things I'm going to do, we have a Shanae on the streets, or I forgot exactly the title of it. We have Kobe's Corner. I think I'm going to start really dealing with that public servant piece, because for us to believe that a politician has a right to snub people and act as if people doesn't matter because they don't agree with whatever they have said, done, that's not the way it rolls. If you are a public servant, our tax dollars are paying your salary. It becomes important that you represent the people who needs to be represented, even when you disagree with the people. That's my commentary on that today. You're going to hear a whole lot more. And yes, I'm going to start calling people out, because at the end of the day, we have to be public servants, whether it's in the pulpit or in the political arena. We are public servants, and we have to represent the people that we have been assigned to. Don't forget, you've heard me on our show this morning with State Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker. You've heard me talk about her event that is going on May the 2nd at the Congo Legacy Center. I'm looking forward to being there. I hope you will. We may have a surprise for you, and I'm hoping and trust that you will be there. Get your tickets. Make sure you purchase the tickets. You have seen commercials on our show today, because I really do believe with all of my heart, soul, and mind that she will make an outstanding lieutenant governor. I hope you will support her. Please, again, get your tickets. And if you cannot get a ticket, please make sure you certainly send some kind of support to let her know that you're in a corner. Not only are you praying for her, but you are making sure that you put some money behind it as well. We'll be right back.
Greetings. I'm Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker of the 3rd District, and I am running for Lieutenant Governor for the state of Delaware. I have previously served on the Wilmington City Council. I served on the Board of Parole, and I am in my 6th year, my 3rd term as a state representative, and I am seeking your vote on September 10th, 2024 to be your next Lieutenant Governor. I believe I am uniquely qualified for this position. Please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024. You can also become involved with the campaign by going to my website, www.sherry, spelled SHERRY, Dorsey, Dorsey Walker, Walker. That's SherryDorseyWalker.com. And you're welcome to make a contribution. Sign up to volunteer, host a party, join us for parades. But please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024 to be your next Lieutenant Governor. May God bless you and continue to be a shining light in your life.
The world looks a whole lot different depending on where you stand.
Sure does.
From growing up in Wilmington to serving as a diplomat in a country devastated by war, starting 2 small businesses that created jobs, and teaching middle school math in neighborhoods that are too often overlooked and left behind. I'm Matt Meyer, and no matter where I stood, if something was broken, I've always tried to make it better. So when the insider said I had no shot against a 12-year incumbent, I ran for Newcastle County Executive anyway.
Gotta love an underdog.
Knocking on nearly 10,000 doors because our county looks different depending on where you stand, too.
Hey, Mr. Meyer, in our classroom, you always made us show our work.
We put the county checkbook online in the first 6 months to show where your tax dollars are going. We are making our county cleaner and greener, investing in early childhood and mental health services. Started 1,000 kids coding to give low-income students high-income skills. And we created the Hope Center, helping thousands of people get off the streets and into homes. Now, as too many families struggle with the rising costs of housing and health care, too many communities go without clean air and clean water. And our schools rank 46th in the nation. I know we can do better, because we should be a state where every kid gets a great education, where every family has a safe neighborhood they can afford to call home, and every woman makes decisions about her own body.
You got that right.
I'm Matt Meyer, and I'm running for governor so that no matter where you stand, we can all see a brighter future.
Don't forget the website.
Now we're going to take a few moments and just look at a few of the shows that we've had previously recorded so that you can really get a feel for what we've been doing over the year.
And now, number 1 of 11 for your recap of The Source.
We need to make sure, as we're talking about on our show months to come, that we are careful to appoint or elect the next mayor who can address the poverty in our communities, the crime in our communities, the things that the community is in desperate need of. Listen, because I'm poor, I should not have to live and go to a school where bullets can just be flying anywhere. Mm-hmm. And there's no plan out there. Where is the plan? We probably should be talking to Velda as well as to the governor, saying, what is your plan on this? And let's dissect the plan. If you don't have a plan, that means you're going to go on popularity.
Right.
And that has been the problem with some of these elections. This is just unacceptable. And I bring up, for those of you who watch it, I bring up Sherelle Parker, not because she's this god, but because she's doing it right. She's getting out there, and it's not about how big her budget is. She's out there, she's hearing, she's trying to respond, and she's honest. She said, it's not going to be easy.
Right.
It's not going to be easy, but hiding stuff, coveting stuff is not the ticket that we need in order to be successful as a city.
And here's number 2 of 11 for your recap of The Source.
At some point, we have to stop it. She poked the bear when she decided to go against Zion Fair. And the community, I had over 100 and some signatures from this community. She and her crew got on that call, and they decided we're gonna fight Zion Fair, who wasn't asking for anything but was gonna provide something for seniors. We're still gonna build that, by the way. I am concerned that this is a retirement plan for the executive director. Now, you wanna challenge me, but I'm going off of facts. Another thing I wanna say, and then I'm gonna let y'all talk as much as y'all wanna talk, but I got my facts today. Another thing, and you elected officials, so be careful carrying people water, because you don't want to ever be associated with people who playing games. But when I saw certain things, I said, how is this the truth? How can you say you want $100,000 in cash? It's in the agreement. It's in the agreement.
And I'm looking at the construction. They said South Bridge, you got to have a certain amount of black-owned construction. People who signed this are construction. Even Norman Oliver's name is on here as one of the people he didn't sign. I don't want to never lie. But his name is as one of the people who are in agreement with, but he didn't sign the notarized statement. It's just there. This is unfair. This is what you call PREY. Preying on poor people. I am not for this. And then when I saw the building, because I looked up everything, when I saw the building, and you'll see a picture of this shortly, it looks nice. It looks nice. I am not for the mayor of the city of Wilmington. I was going to be for this project just because he was against it. But now I'm for it. I'm sorry. I'm against it. Because look at who's behind the scenes collecting the money. The people who were considered to get any money were people who were kind and nice to the executive director. Isaiah Fair has over 30 employees. We're the third largest employer in this Southbridge section. Did we get even a consideration? No, I'm not mad about that. We don't need any help. But what I'm mad about is that once again, you have powerful black people preying on black people during Black History Month. We have to stop it. And I'm ready to fight. Because at the end of the day, this is wrong. These rich people how is it that now, and I found out today also, this morning, that there's a petition going around in Southbridge, and several people have signed it. And they have made it clear they are against. The CDC is not the community. The CDC is not the community. The CDC is a group of people who were put together, went and got a 501c3 under the leadership of its leader, Hanifa Shabazz. If you're gonna sue me, because I'm prepared to fight it. We have to stop playing these games with black people. And then we go try to find people to carry our water. This should not go forward. And if I have anything to do with it, just as you stopped Isaiah Fair's project when we didn't ask for nothing but just a variance. I'm ready to go ahead forward and show how people are trying to profit off of poor people. What in this community, and I want you to read it and come back if you want to, either one of the two of you. I want you to read it. This would be the greatest thing in the world, to have a community benefit agreement. This would be the greatest thing in the world for a community that is struggling. For look at where all the money is going. And I have this available. Anybody need me? Send me an email. I'll send you the community agreement. It's public record. This is illegal. It's shameful. And I'm not going to support it.
And now, number 3 of 11 for your recap of The Source, right here.
This happens on a local level.
Right.
So you have to pay attention more than just who is president.
Right.
You have to pay attention to who's your governor, who's your state
has
rep.
to do that. That's his boy in that office.
Well, I'm saying us as people, we need to pay attention, because I saw people out there, Biden Harris, but then didn't vote in their city council races or didn't vote in their mayor election.
Okay, I see you going.
There's a huge drop off, right? Yeah. Thousands of people who voted for president in 2020 in the city of Wilmington didn't even make it to pass the county exec line. Right? And the mayor is under that. Yeah. They just stopped voting. They hit that submit button once they hit the president or once they hit the U.S. senator or congresswoman line, and then they hit that submit. I'm not saying don't do that. Please do that. But vote all the way down the ticket.
Yeah.
Because that's where it truly matters. The city council has more to do with what is going on right now. And it's crazy because some of them don't even understand the power that the council really has, unless, Pazicki said, hey, now you have the power to do something. They don't realize the power they have. They're supposed to be their own entity.
Right.
Checks and balances.
And it's so funny. I had one of my budget requests is for a grant writer for city council to have our own, so that we can have someone like, there's a whole bunch of opioid money right now for grants. And I know Councilmember Xanthia Oliver has been trying to lead that way in her district. Why don't we have a grant writer helping us to get funds to do that, right? So I put in a request, and literally one of the council people said, we got to talk to the administration. I said, no, we don't. Like this is what I'm talking about.
Boss?
Oh my, I was like, no. I said the administration has their grant writer. Wilmington PD has a grant writer. We can get a grant writer. We don't have to ask the administration. I am tired of us thinking we have to go to the administration. There are times we need to collaborate and work with them, yes, but we don't have to go through them for everything. Like this council waits for the administration's approval.
Wow.
And number 4 of 11 for your recap of The Source.
And as we're celebrating Christmas, it's going to be important that we remember the reason for the season. Now, I joke with Sinead quite often, and I called her a Grinch one time. She said, oh, I will never steal anybody else's Christmas, which is true. But I wanted to make sure that you all clearly work together with yourself. Come to grips with the fact that Christmas is really not about who you can buy gifts for, how many gifts you can buy. Christmas, for real, for the Christian community, because we celebrate Christmas, which is Christ's celebration, Christ's Mass. And it's about us giving celebration to the Lord who came and was born in Bethlehem. We believe that story. We believe that message. And if you are stressed out, because I'm told that in the month of December, it is the highest suicide month. It is the highest month for depression. And a lot of it is coming from trying to please people who really probably don't even care anything about you. And I think what we have to do is take all the stress off of ourselves and begin to say, you know what, it's another day, but we will give honor to where honor is due, and we will move on. I share with you all that my daughter, on the 2 or 3 things she asked for Christmas, one of them was, I want to give something back to a community that can give something, that cannot give something to me. I thought that was a very touching moment for my life, because to have a child who are not self-centered is important. I think, Sinead, as we are coming to the end of this time, we probably need to go back to not being stressed out over how much money we can spend and make somebody rich who can care nothing about us.
Right, I agree. Listen, you would not have me stressing about one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it really shouldn't be about that. And a lot of times when you, like, for example, I see you quite often with your children. You go in places with your children. You're doing things all year long with your children. It's not like this one day I'm going to show them I'm a super mom. I'm going to buy them everything on their wish list because I'm the super. It's not about that. You're the super mom every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Christmas, and that's really what Christmas is supposed to be about anyway, making sure that what you do today, you've been doing all year long. So I got to take back calling you Grinch and say, you're not the Grinch, you're just the one who is sober. And I think that's important. That's a better language than.
And people hate on the Grinch, but the Grinch has a reason to be mad, But I'm not the Grinch though, because I don't want to if you celebrate and do your Christmas thing,
right.
I am happy for you.
Right.
But it's not my thing.
Right. Absolutely. But you say Grinch had a reason to be.
Yeah, they was mean to him.
They were mean to him.
How they treated the Grinch.
How did they treat him? And I'm setting you up because I think I like that. I like that because in actuality, people always look at the reaction as opposed to what caused the reaction.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I said, oh, I can grab her right there in the end of the show. And you feel that they were mean to him. They treated him unfairly. How do you think the poor feel?
I hope all are enjoying your recap of The Source. And now, number 5 of 11.
The chief of staff is in alignment with the mayor.
100%.
Right? So she knows that it would look bad, but she knows that they convinced the other people to already say no. So she didn't have to say it. She didn't have to be an extra no for them.
Absolutely.
It's optics. It's a game that they're playing, and this is what they do.
Beth.
And they think that you guys aren't either paying attention or you can't see what they're doing.
Or that you're outright stupid. And you have to call it what it is. And that's not appropriate for me just being on this TV show. But that's exactly what they're trying to do. To make sure that they know they're smarter than you. That you don't have the faculties to understand that the mayor's supporting it because his chief of staff, he appointed all of them. All of them. Okay. And he already had his 3 to make sure it didn't go forward. But his chief of staff voted in favor of it. Just so it can make it look like the mayor was going to support it.
And here comes number 6 of 11 for your recap of the source.
Do you think there is a strategic plan? Do you think he's going to give it to a certain builder or builders? And because that's some prime property right there.
Yeah.
It's a prime property that's getting federal money to put a cap over it. I think it's probably going to, if this administration has its way, they're going to try to push it right to Bacini's hands.
Oh, wow.
They have created a monopoly.
Wow.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
They got rid of a city park, Humboldt Park, and sold it to Bacini. What was it, $1?
Yeah, it was $1.
$1? $1. A city park where, we should be talking about green space, talking about being healthy, right? Where I always saw people in the park. It was right across from Del Tech. I could walk there from my job, get some eat clean, and then sit in the park myself.
Oh, you was great.
He hot about the park.
But they sold that, and now they're building the apartments there, where one, they're going to build apartments there. Two, they're going to get downtown development funds back, right? The rebate, I think it's like 20% of whatever they put in there. They're going to get back as well, too, to go pit somewhere else. They keep taking all the parking lots downtown and building apartments. There's no parking downtown.
None.
Then, hold on, I'm not done yet, because I'm really upset right now. Now there's no parking. Guess what? They have the little meter maids out there everywhere ticketing broke down cars, because I've seen meter maids walk past a Mercedes, a BMW, a Rover, and ticket the old Honda, ticket the Oldsmobile, ticket all these old cars on the same block. So you know what I did? I walked right behind them. Not a single one. Now the old cars, they didn't pay the meter, or it was expired too. But none of those meters were filled. None of them.
Wow.
And now, number 7 of 11 of your recap of the source, coming at you right now.
Because, first, are we in a democracy?
Under this mayor, he doesn't think so, but yes.
Because I think people have a right to say, look, city council persons, if you want to represent me, represent my viewpoint.
Correct.
And if my viewpoint is different from an administration viewpoint, what is wrong with that?
Well, I also want to point out that he said that, now that the state changed the law, that he had the power not to enforce residency anymore. If that's true, and, the city council just passed another law, but you have the power not to enforce it, don't enforce it and get sued. Get sued. That's the thing. You have a bunch of lawsuits. You've caused a bunch of lawsuits for the city of Wilmington because of your negligence and the negligence of your staff up there. But, he has decided that he wants to be a dictator these last few months he's in office. And that's how he's going to rule.
And here's number 8 of 11 for your recap of the source.
Everything he does is strategic, right? Listen, these folks are strategic. They plan, they map out, they do it. He was a Republican. Let's start from the beginning. He was a Republican who changed to a Democrat and had Republican parties to change people to Democrats so he can win. That is not illegal, but it's smart.
Yeah.
Can't deny that.
Yeah.
So he does not focus on things that don't matter to him for the bigger picture. I don't know what the bigger picture is. We can only assume. And the same day he makes an announcement, he also says there's no residency. Then in that same day, John Carney, our governor, announces that he's interested in running for mayor, which we know that he is now because he filed a committee to raise money. Carney for Wilmington. He is running for office, right? So we know all of those things happen in the same day. Do you think that was by accident?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's very strategic and people see it. So they think they can play a lot of games with people, but the community sees it. When every time I mention that our governor is going to run for mayor, I don't even got to know the person. They look at me confused. You mean the governor is going to run for the mayor for a city? I'm like, yes. I said, that's how I feel too. Like they are confused that is happening. But then you see how struggled they are in even identifying candidates within our city who fit into his platform to run. They're so desperate that they went with the governor to run for the mayor of the city of Wilmington. And that goes to show how strong the city of Wilmington is, that they need to keep control over it.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because as I'm listening to you, you said strategic, and you said that word several times. I don't know. I don't want anybody to think that I have any data, but if a lot of the people who made, let's say if the governor wins the election, then all those people who may be a part of his crew may not be in the city of Wilmington, and they would have to live here.
Correct.
So if we get rid of it now, we don't have to worry about that.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Yep, that is the assumption.
Something to think about.
That is the assumption.
Okay.
We don't know, but we all know that Governor Carney, most of his people live in Newcastle County, right?
Oh.
We know that. So we can only assume, make assumptions.
Wow.
We don't know what the true intention is behind it, but we know it has nothing to do with vacancies.
Wow.
We'll be right back with your recap of The Source after these few messages.
I am Tony Prado, Communications Specialist for the Blood Bank of Delmarva. We are charged with keeping all 19 hospitals in the Delmarva Peninsula stocked with the blood products they need for various hospital patients. The only way we can help those folks is by convincing people to donate blood. It's something that we cannot produce synthetically in the lab. We need people to donate their time and their blood in order to make that happen, whether you're giving whole blood, double red cells, or platelets. And we'll take those products, we'll test them, make sure that they're safe, and then distribute those to the hospitals as needed, including in hospital emergencies, trauma events that occur in the flash of a minute. And we ask you to help us. Go to delmarvablood.org or call 1-888-8-BLOOD-8 to schedule your appointment. We're celebrating National Blood Donor Month to raise awareness. And as I said previously, we are asking people to donate once per season, whole blood, or you can do double red cells twice a year, or you can do platelets every 2 weeks. Whatever fits your schedule, it's a great way to get back to your community. Sit back and relax and donate some blood. And if you're like me, you don't have time to coach Little League or volunteer at the soup kitchen, donating blood is a legitimate way to get back to your community. You're gonna be saving lives and you're gonna feel good about it. I promise you. Thank you for your time.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you. I love your precious heart. I was standing, you were there. Two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. We can live for 1,000 years.
I am Kamika Lynette Bell, founder and executive director of Girls with Pearls, based here in the lovely state of Wilmington, Delaware. We are so excited to be celebrating 12 years of exemplary services, empowering young girls to be fearfully and wonderfully made. We are looking for your child of their ages of between 6 and 16 or 6 or 17. If you're looking for them to be change agents for a global community, if you're looking for your child to learn the power of dance, to learn etiquette, we are here to serve your child. Please reach us at 302-276-8337, 302-276-8337, or info@gwpearls.com. God bless you.
Join us for an evening of unity and support. Come out to the Congo Legacy Center on Thursday, May 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. and rally behind Sherry Dorsey Walker, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. This fundraiser, hosted by family and friends of Sherry Dorsey Walker, promises an inspiring evening as we rise to unify. Tickets are $100. Please don't miss this opportunity to show your support and be a part of the movement. See you there. Welcome back to the recap of The Source. And now, number 9 of 11.
You have two countries that are fighting one another. Very similar to what happened when we went into war against Al Qaeda and terrorist organizations like that. But what I see as the true crisis happening right now is the innocent lives that are being lost on both sides, both the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Okay.
Gaza is under siege right now. And to put it out there, Hamas is a terrorist organization that does not represent the Palestinian people.
And that's where I am. Okay.
But the death toll that is happening in Gaza right now, they're not targeting or hitting their right targets. They are killing the families of journalists. They are killing the majority of people who have been killed are kids.
Yeah.
They are kids who are orphans. They don't have their parents anymore.
Right.
And you can't have a moral conscience and sit by and say that this has to continue because it's collateral damage. I cannot watch another video of them pulling stones off the bodies of lifeless kids. The Palestinian people have been through a lot. And it was a Palestinian Jew who said that we must have a moral compass to stand up and do what's right. We cannot just sit back and see casualty after casualty after casualty of what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Israel, and say that this is okay. It's not.
Right.
There was a resolution at the UN that was put forth to call for a ceasefire. And the only nation who rose their hand to stop it was the U.S. The U.S., who has a long history of oppression, of violence, could have been a global leader in peace. And this is what we put so much money out there for. And they chose not to be. And that's the sad part.
You said, so the only nation that voted to stop it was America.
To stop the resolution from going through.
Oh, okay. So I don't want nobody to get confused.
They voted not to pass the resolution.
Okay.
And because we're one of the superpowers, it stops if we decide we veto it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm glad that you were able to share, and Shanae was shared her stuff as well, is that there is a humanitarian crisis going on, and we agree. Both the innocent is who's being harmed. The Jewish on October the 7th community was attacked viciously. And now, the members of the Gaza community, but Hamas is the real issue. How do we cease fire, but yet get them? Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get them, but don't have a plan to get them without all this humanitarian.
Allow medical aid in. Stop using concrete to fill wells that people need drinking water. Allow life-saving aid to be administered. Do not target hospitals. Do not target the houses of journalists who are speaking out against this, from Al Jazeera. There has been so much death. And Dr. King said it best. Darkness does not bring out darkness cannot wipe out darkness. Only light can do that.
Absolutely.
More death is not going to stop anything. And just like people condemned Hamas, and myself included, for their actions in early October, we must do the same and say, just because
of humanitarian purposes.
I was against the Iraq war, and mind you, I was a little younger, and as I got older, I could figure it out a little bit more. Yes, we had tremendous loss on 9/11. Tremendous loss. But the death toll that then followed that, it was unspeakable.
Right.
I am not someone who's in support of war at all. There has to be a diplomatic way to come to a resolution.
I just think that when this is all said and done, it's going to be very interesting how Israel respond to the level of death of young children and older people and people in general who are innocent. There has to have been a bit of, we got to get Hamas. We got to get that whole organization out of there. They built a whole city underground. It is difficult, but sometimes it's not about how fast you get something done. It's about strategically getting it done. Going in there is different than shutting the wells down. Blowing up a house. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think they blew up the hospital on purpose, but still it happened. I just feel that we need to figure out, America, what side of history we want to be on, and to stop the resolution from getting a ceasefire resolution is not appropriate, because I just think that right now the only people who are suffering is not Hamas.
No,
it's the Palestinian people. They are suffering right now, and yes, I am very sensitive. I'm very sensitive to the Jewish brothers and sisters who were harmed.
Absolutely,
I'm not going to play that role.
Absolutely,
and I'm also, for those of you, especially those of you who are into the church world, the Bible speaks of, he who stands with Israel is a friend of mine. I understand that. But right is right and wrong is wrong. And right now, and I think that it is leading us to a humanitarian situation that I can't just sit by. I don't care if it's a Palestinian child. I don't care who child it is.
Right.
And see them dying to the level. And all those kids, those incubators, if we don't get that gas in there, they're going to wind up dead. And that's going to be a bad day.
Here we go with number 10 of 11 for your recap of The Source.
I kind of wanted to give an update on Adams Street. So we know, about a year and a half ago in May of 2022, there were a whole units from the 800 block of Adams Street that were condemned due to unlivable conditions, right? So most recently, the landlord, so this landlord agrees to pay fines, finally, a year and a half later, and he has until October 28th to fix these homes. They gave him $5,000 fine for failing to make timely repairs to the homes, right? It's been a year and a half, and they're just now fining him. And if for 27 units, it's only $5,000, right? So this is the problem I have, is like the city's lack of accountability for these big property owners, or for certain property owners, but for everybody else, they'll nail the hammer down, don't give breaks. They talk about not giving discounts, not helping people, and people should pay what they need to pay, right? So he had over 20 civil penalties that were issued for him in those 27 units that were condemned over a year and a half ago. And this is where we are today. Like, what are we doing?
So you said $500,000 fine.
5,000. No, 5,000.
27 units, which means 27 families were dislocated. And they were treated as if it didn't matter. They had to leave out, move out. He had all the officials around. And his fine was $5,000.
Yep. And when it happened, he was given 30 days to fix it. So now it's been way more than 30 days times 18 months, right? That's how many days it's been out. And they're just now fining him at only $5,000. And he's agreed to like weekly inspections with L&I. And they said if he doesn't fix it in 45 days, they'll just give him more fees and fines.
I just want to add to that, that when Adams Street first happened, right? When those people were being evicted, it was 2 days after he had collected rent on most of the units. So if you break down the average rent over there of $950, right, of the unit, times 27, that is $25,000, $650, right? And you only get a $5,000 fine?
Wow.
And yet, most of these people who lived in these units still have not been able to get their money back.
Right.
The city has not helped them in that process whatsoever. And a lot of them didn't want to go through the legal process because they would be paying out more in legal fees than they would be getting back.
Wow.
A lot of these people have been displaced still. I think there's one family left in the Hope Center, and it's been over a year.
You see how they treat the poor? I want to look at the camera and say that. When you have no funds and resources, look at how you're treated. Just live. Just do. We do what we want to do. We handle you any way we want to handle you. This is ridiculous. This is really ridiculous. $5,000. I thought you said $500,000.
No, 5,000.
27 units. Families are displaced.
He disrupts the community, and all he has to pay was $5,000. And I heard he even tried to appeal that.
Yep.
Oh, that's crazy.
And last but not least, number 11 of 11 for your recap of The Source. Thanks for hanging out. We hope you enjoyed the show.
So I don't know why, what's going on with y'all generation, because y'all the same generation, right?
Yeah.
We would be, but I think we're very different in ideology.
What do you mean?
So I don't want to put us in the same ideology boat at all.
Well, I don't know if I was saying ideology, but okay.
Like I would not be all into the Democratic Party. Like I haven't been when I ran for office. I never been. I am not a oh my gosh, Democrat running around. Like that's not my thing, right?
So what do you say when he criticized people like I don't like saying names too much because I get in trouble, but when he criticized a fellow Democrat for not doing what he's supposed to do you say all in? Because all in, when you said that, it made me think like they can do no wrong. My problem is, and then y'all beat up on me today, my problem is your generation have no patience. It's like go in, steamroll over everything, and we're gonna do it our way. And I think it's hurting a lot of the people who count on you all to get them results. You cannot get results if no one will open the door for you, or at least let you in. Because when you said, like, now I see what you mean when you said don't put y'all in the same bracket. Because if he wants to be diplomatic and say, okay, you know what, let me work with this group so that I can get this for my people, you're saying no. If they're not doing what you want them to, what they need to be doing as you understand it, then there should be no relationship at all?
No, not saying no relationship at all. That's not what I said. I think y'all go to extremes with stuff. And it's like unfortunate that y'all do that. I think a lot of Democrats do that in conversations.
And Republicans.
Like y'all go to the extreme.
Okay.
I will not identify myself with a party and be all in the way certain people are. It's just something I just would never do, right? Do some of my ideals match with Democratic Party? Yes, but it doesn't match with them because I'm a Democrat. It matches with them because that's just who I am as a person, right? I am not set to a party and never been. My ideology just comes from life experiences, from different people who have taught me things that formally and informally on how I stand and be. I am not the way I am because of a party.
Right.
And I don't have to identify with one.
And I'm not the way I am because of a party either.
Okay.
Yes, I am a Democrat, but I stand on my own 2 feet.
Right.
I'm just saying we're not the same. That's all I said.
Right, but it does appear that like none of us agree with all. Right now, there are members of Zion Fair Baptist Church who don't agree with all that we do. They don't agree with everything, but they and they're not a member because they are Zion Fair, because of Zion Fair's values. They are a member because they align themselves with, they agree with the majority of what we do. And I think what happens, I think, with politics is that while I am a Democrat, one of the issues I have with the Democrat is there are some things that are very liberal. I'm careful what I say because I want to make sure that they're too liberal. I think that some of this free money that Biden gave out caused some of the problems we have in the city of Wilmington now. I think that he has really, it has become so, people learn how to deal with the system. I heard you talk about quite often about, they need to pay more or they need to pay more. But we also need to get some more quality work people in here too. And nobody talks about the quality, just talk about the finance part of it. And the same with Republicans. They talk about no abortions, but they don't give us any health care. So I don't align myself with the Democrats because I'm a Democratic bleeding person or a Republican bleeding person, but I align myself with the values because of the values I bring to the table. I think this group can help me help my people. That's why I stand as a Democrat.
Maybe you can. I just know that most people, and I talk to my age group and my circle, do not want to identify as a Democrat, but we're forced to. People do not want to be subjected to choosing between two parties. They just don't want it. So I hope that in the next decade or in the next future, somehow with these next young generation, because they on fire, and I'm glad your 12-year-old said that, because we got to give them room to think and stop putting them in boxes and say you only have two options. No, if a group of them get into power, they can change that. There's alternatives to two-party systems. There's different things people have proposed. There's things in between that makes a system more fair and for everybody. It's not fair that if I don't identify as a Democrat, right, and beforehand I was an independent, I could not vote in the primary. That doesn't make any...
That's only in the state of Delaware.
No, I'm just talking about Delaware, where I am, my experiences, right? I cannot vote. That's not fair. That is not fair. Like, things like that is not fair.
So you
because
get in
they're locked
and you change
into a
it.
two-party system.
But you get in and then you change it. Now, you are in the Democratic Party. Then if it's not fair, why can't you align yourself with people who have the same ideology you have? Get in the position to be able to change it.
There's not a lot of workers. I'm telling you.
So what do? We stand on the back line and just say that we're not for it? And that's where I think, because when you just said you're not all in like him, I don't know what he does. I know that he gets on some people's nerves, and you do too, and I do too. We all get on people's nerves. But I just want to make sure we understand you cannot want better, but don't learn the system or don't learn the system to be able to change it.
You don't have to be a part of it to learn it. Who says
yes,
you
do.
have to? No,
yes, you do.
Don't.
Tell
I have learned the system.
You are a certified
I have
member.
learned the nonprofit system so well, Black maternal health care, and I will never, ever do certain things to get grants that certain people do. Because I have values about me, right? So there's certain things how I navigate. And when I go into meetings with the people who give me grant money, I am just who I am as a person. And they'll still give me the money because I set the stipulations.
And sometimes they do it because they have to give it to a Black sister.
I set the stipulations from the beginning.
And they'll put up with you because they got to give it to a Black sister or a Black brother or to some nonprofit. But you still got to pay attention to the fact you are a member of Delta Sigma Theta. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi. You can't tell me what's going on in Omega Psi Phi. You're from the outside. So to say Omegas are crazy, they're bad, they're terrible. Well, you're not a Q. So but now that I am, I can say certain things are going wrong, and then I can get in there and I can change it. I can talk about it to the people to say, look, there are other people who got the same ideology that I have. We need to change this, we need to change that. But I cannot, from the outside, for all those persons who say, I don't want to identify, you're going to always be on the outside. You can't change the culture.
I'm not on the outside.
You're
I'm
not
on the inside.
But you said many of your people are on the outside who don't want to identify.
And I don't need the Democratic Party to run for office. No, I don't.
Why did you run?
I ran because of my own values and
beliefs. But you ran under the Democratic Party.
Did not support me.
They did because they let you go on their ballot.
They can't stop me.
Okay, but you're not listening to yourself.
They cannot stop me.
No, you are a Democrat. You should have ran as a Republican or independent.
No.
Why did you run as independent?
I did not run as an independent because there's only certain roles that you can take when you're independent.
So you're using the Democratic Party, huh?
Yes, I will use them for everything they have. Yes, I will.
That's that generation.
I will use them for everything they got.
And I'm not arguing that. And you should be able to use them.
Yes, I will. I will use them and then turn around and tell them I'm not a Democrat and use their name. And I would turn around and use their vote builder system. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Again, and I am not a Democrat.
And then when you get into the city council that you're in now, then the question becomes, how are you helping the people who have voted you in to help them?
Yep, landlord engagement lab, fees and fines, $50,000 grants. I have some legislation.
Fees and fines. Didn't we talk about that earlier today? Now you are doing that. You're putting that stuff up, right?
No, I have a fees and fines task force. So I got the city of Wilmington in a program on a national program, and they gave us a $50,000 grant. Right? There's no other city council person doing that. Right. Name one other city council doing that type work.
But even though you're doing it, and I'm never going to discount what you do because I think you do a very good job. All right. And I want to make sure those of you who are watching us having this live discussion on this issue, I want to make sure you understand, and I've been saying this to some of the younger millennials in this church, that you have to be able to understand the system to change it. You got to be diplomatic.
Thanks for tuning in. And now, back to Dr. Curry for some closing remarks.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We try to pull something together to make sure that we gave you a show on this week. Both Shanae and Kobe were called away suddenly, and they needed to be able to be where they were. And we respect that. Both of them fight very, very hard for the communities upon which they represent. And I hope you enjoyed the show today. Until the next time we get together, God bless you.